Hi guys.
Hello there.
Hi.
My name's Kevin Heath. I'm the operations manager here at the Gilroy Center for the Arts. I'm just curious, how many are in the center for the first time? Yeah. Well, welcome. We're glad to have you guys here. We being Gilroy Arts Alliance, the nonprofit that runs the Gilroy Center for the Arts, we're partnering with the Gilroy Chamber of Commerce, and we're holding a class to kind of show you guys how to make pumpkin people for the upcoming contest. Now, before you go, if you have not already signed up for the contest, there are some brochures here on how to do that, and information on the wonderful prizes that are up for grabs. And then there's some printouts you can take with you as well that just kind of is going to go over pretty much what I'm going to cover with you today. I'd like to introduce these two lovely ladies. We have Carol Harris, who is the president of Gilroy Arts Alliance, and we have Marianne Eichenbaum, who is the president of Northern California Art Fusion. And these two artists have come to join me today because they are much more talented than I am in doing this. So I'm going to talk with them in just a little, or they're going to talk with you in just a little bit to kind of give you an idea of how you can dress up your pumpkin people. So, anyone ever build a pumpkin person before? Good? All right, good. Then whatever I say is real, right? Then because I'm the pro of it, right? Okay, good. What I'm going to do is kind of talk to you about some basics. And one of the first things I talk about is how are you going to make your pumpkin person stand out? There's a couple different ways to do this depending on if you're using your lawn, if you're using a porch, or however you're going to do this. If you are able to use a lawn and you're interested in doing some freestanding figures, this is basically just a piece of 2x4 with another piece of wood across it that I just put a couple screws in. And you can do this, I suggest maybe taking a little chop saw and cutting a little angle in it, and you can pound this into your lawn, and this will be very sturdy. Part of the contest is you're using real pumpkins for the heads, okay? Now, there's, as far as I understand, there is no rule as to whether you carve it or not carve it. I suggest not carving it because it will rot faster. So, however, if you do want to do that, I told the class this morning, you can go online and Google Martha Stewart. She has a way, of course, of taking the carved pumpkin, putting it into a bucket of bleach and water and something else, and it helps kill all the bacteria, and it will help keep your pumpkin head from rotting quite as fast. And so I'm going to try that this year to see what it does on my front porch. But let's say that you're using the full-on pumpkin head. Okay, what you want to do once you have your frame done and in your lawn, and then we'll go back and talk about some other ways to have the frames up. What you want to do is carve a section out of the bottom of your pumpkin. Okay, scoop out just a little bit. You don't have to empty the pumpkin of all of its contents, but enough just that you can set it on your 2x4. Now this one I made the 2x4 a little bit too high, so you'll want to cut it down a little bit, and then you pop it right on top of the 2x4. Okay, now once it's up there, this is my favorite part. You get this wonderful foam insulation stuff, which Lowe's has right now, I think for like $3.98 a can, so it's really cheap. It has this wonderful little hose on it. And you put it up inside the pumpkin while it's on your 2x4, and you spray the heck out of it. This stuff will expand, it will harden, and that pumpkin's not coming off your 2x4. Even in the Gilroy wind, it will not come off your 2x4. My suggestion is, by the way, as you're creating your pumpkin person, do your frame first. Do it first, get it secure in the ground or wherever you're going to secure it, and we'll talk about that in a second. And then you dress it up and continue to be creative from there. So that's one way of doing it on your lawn with the 2x4 and the pumpkin head. Now, I got creative today, literally came in and said, in like 5 minutes, said, oh, I have a speaker stand. I wonder if I can make a pumpkin person out of this. Now, she's not real pretty, but be nice to her. I had a styrofoam pumpkin that I had here at the theater, and I literally, pardon me for lifting the skirt, I literally put it on a stand, okay, threw this on real quick, and put on a wig and the pumpkin head. Now, if I had like another hour or so to work on this, she would have gloves and hands and arms, and this would all be filled. But that's a really good base for you to start on, okay? So if you have something like that around your house that you can use. Another option too is if you have an old coat stand. And what you can do with this is carve a hole in your pumpkin, put it right there. This will hold up your pumpkin up there quite nicely, okay? And then you can strap a piece of wood across here to make arms, or if you're making a ghost, or however you want to proceed after that. But that's another way to make a stand. And behind Marianne here, Marianne made this lovely garden lady, and she used a giant garden stake, and she popped that on there. and it goes through the body, and they're going to talk to you a little bit about building the bodies in just a second. But that's another option for securing it into the ground and keeping it sturdy. Now, the pumpkin people don't have to stand all by themselves. You can put something behind them. So if you wanted to brace another piece of wood behind it, if you want to do some corn stalks that would hide that brace, if you want to do, I don't know, anything else you can think of, if you're doing a Christmas theme, if you're making Santa pumpkin, you could put, a Christmas tree next to it to hide some of the bracing. Our biggest thing is, obviously, we're artists, our biggest thing is get as creative as you can. Have fun with it. Get the kids involved, get your family, get your neighbors involved, and get out there and just have a really good time with this. Some of the basic tools that you're going to need, basically, obviously, is a little drill helps when you're doing the wooden cross frame. And if you have any sort of paint or markers around the house, literally, most of us in our garage somewhere, very few of us have basements, but in our garages we have some leftover paint from some project that we probably never finished, if you're like me. And run and get that, and we'll talk about in a second about how to put it up on the pumpkin to make your face. Marianne has also drawn some wonderful possible designs. If you want to practice these to draw on your pumpkins, you're welcome to take your smartphone and take a picture of this, and you can take that home with you so you can see some ideas that she came up with. And again, be creative, make it yours, okay? There are a few rules with a contest, and I believe that one of which is that we don't make them too gory, no blood, and no sort of weapons or anything like that. So that's part of the contest. So just all of that information is on www.gilroy.org for the information on the contest rules, okay? But other than that, have fun, have a great time with it. You can add anything you want to it. A couple examples I have seen. I saw a wonderful display once. It was called Family Dinner. And it was literally a table with chairs. And I'll talk about this guy in a second. It's because this is how they did it. A table with chairs, and every pumpkin person was a different character in the family. So mom was up there frazzled while the kids were crying because they didn't like what they wanted for dinner, and the husband was reading the newspaper. So it was really funny. So but you could do something super creative like that. You could, one that I've seen actually that Mark Turner showed me was they did in New Hampshire, they did the cover of Abbey Road, the Beatles' Abbey Road, and they created a little, I'm assuming plywood thing that they painted just like the road, and they had all the characters walking just like on the cover. It was really cool. So another one I saw, I think in the brochure they show it as the Brady Bunch. It shows just pumpkin heads in a little square thing. It's very funny. So if you have a theme, if you want to go, make your own, you can put your own family out there. You have the four of you out there. That'd be really cool too. So this guy, another option, if this fits into your theme of what you're doing. Basically, this is one that Carol put together this morning, and she's going to talk to you a little bit about how she stuffed it. And again, this was, we didn't take a whole lot of time on this. We kind of put one together to show you this is a good start. I think if you have the time to spend a little bit more time on it, you can really, the sky's the limit. It's basically a pair of sweatpants, a sweatshirt, and a pair of my painting sneakers for the theater, and we threw a pumpkin head on it, which Carol designed, and she took a little chili pepper from her garden and made a nose out of it. We threw on a wig, and Marianne threw on a pair of headphones to make it kind of our little Justin Bieber pumpkin person. So really the sky is the limit. Again, I'm starting with some of the basics of how to start building the frame. I'm going to turn it over to Marianne for a moment. She's going to talk about how she made hers, and then I'll turn it over to Carol, and she'll talk a little bit more about ideas on how she made hers and stuff.
Okay, this one is, it's not real. And what I did is I painted the face first, and then I went in with acrylic paint and painted the eyes. And then did the mouth, and I did some hair for her. I bought this at Michael's. It was very cheap. I just braided it and kind of stuck it on there, and then stuck a hat on it. And so to hold the head up, what I did is I put 3 styrofoam balls in here to kind of hold the head up. And I stuffed the body. I have a pillowcase with straw in it. And I filled it up, and then I tied it with wire around to the stick in the back. And then just dress it up, and I did the same thing with the pants. Just put hay in it and just fill it up. And over here for the arms, I got a little thing in here. What is it? I'm thinking in German again.
Wire.
Thank you. I always translate. So anyway, I got a wire in here, and I tied it up to a little bar, And that way you can hold something, or you can bend it whichever you want to. It's very simple.
Speaking of pumpkin heads, by the way, I believe, and Mark, you can correct me if I'm wrong, with the contest, if you're a residential contestant, that part of the rules is you use a real pumpkin head. And if you are a business, putting it into business window, a styrofoam head would be okay. The thought process in that is that in a store or a storefront, the lights are going to be on most likely 24/7, so everyone can see it all night long. It's a lot more heat, and it will really affect the pumpkin. Whereas, at least if it's outside of your home in Gilroy, you get a little heat during the day, and then it cools down at night, and it won't be quite as much of a problem. So that's kind of the thought behind that. Also, too, if you notice the way that Marianne accessorized the woman's little bag, and she just hot glued some things on there. So you can, another idea of things that you can do. As far as like the clothing and stuff that you have on your pumpkin people, go through your closet and see what you've got, and if you find something there that doesn't fit your theme, go to Goodwill and pick up something, or, you really, basically what I did is I jumped into, I own the theater here and I have a costume closet. I literally just went in without looking, just grabbed a bunch of costumes and said, I'm going to make something out of it. That's kind of what came out. It's a little eclectic, but there you go. And now Carol's going to talk a little bit about hers and then how she stepped in and designed it.
Well, when I got here this morning, I had a different idea entirely, and then it kind of changed. So very quickly, last night I went on Google and I Googled how to build a pumpkin person, and I got all these great pictures and directions. So I followed the directions that they gave, and they said to take a rubber band and put it at the bottom of the pants to hold in the stuffing. And so I did that, and I stuffed newspapers in a pair of sweatpants. And then I didn't bother putting the elastic in the sleeve, and it didn't fall out. And I stuffed the sweatshirt with newspapers and put the sweatshirt over the pants. And then the pumpkin head was very heavy. So this is the challenge that you're going to have, is how to support this pumpkin head. And one way, of course, is to put it on a stake, but I don't know how to do it. So we went in the back and found a table. So the pumpkin head is just sitting here on the table. Yeah, really, really easy to do. And Marianne used acrylics. Did you use all acrylics? Yeah. Yeah, I did mine with a marker. And I had a Sharpie black marker, and then I used a watercolor red, and I found out that after it sat in the sun this morning, it all soaked into the pumpkin and went away. So that's something else to remember. The teeth are acrylic paint, and the whites of the eyes are, so the acrylic paint will last you longer than a marker. The marker seems to fade away just like makeup fades on your face. And I had this nice red pepper. I said to my husband this morning on my way, go out in the garden and pick me one of those red peppers. It's kind of because I could just visualize it as a nose, and I put it on with one of those turkey skewers that you use when you stuff your turkey. And then I have one of those glue dots stuck around it, so hopefully it'll keep the hole that I put it in airtight so it won't rot it. And that's it. Kevin had a pair of shoes back there and a wig and stuck it on. I said to Marianne, boy, this would be really cute if it had some headphones and an iPod. So she went out her car and got the headphones, and there you go. That's Justin.
Our version.
Better behave.
Yeah. And something to think about for the markers and the paint that you put on there. I have not tried this, but it makes sense to me as a theater trick. When you want things to say sometimes, you'll put clear nail polish on them, or you can put hairspray. So you can experiment with that. In the heat and the sun, I'm not sure how long that will last, but I know when the stage lights, well, we don't put nail polish on our face, but hairspray actually sometimes will set makeup when you're going on stage, and that will keep it on for a while. So that's something to consider to experiment around with as well. And go, like I said, be super creative on your faces. You can draw them on. We were talking about, gosh, I wish we had some potatoes we could have cut in the size and made big ears on them. So think about that. You could use carrots. You could use chili peppers. You can use other things that you might find in your garden, or something that maybe you're making dinner and as a piece that, oh, wait a minute, I'm just composting this. I'm going to take it out and put it on my pumpkin person. So be as creative as possible. And also, I mentioned before the idea of the Abbey Road. If you have a theme, you know, think beyond just the pumpkin person that you're building. For example, the dinner scene, you could, you know, put something behind it to make it look like it's a dining room. You know, obviously you don't want to put your furniture on your front lawn, but you could do, you know, draw something behind it. The kids could be even involved with, you know, to kind of draw maybe a wallpaper or something, and so it looks like it's a wall behind there. So you can, it doesn't stop just at the pumpkin person. You can get very creative, and you can continue on. I think one of the ones that I saw as I was looking online, and if you haven't picked up, there's some copies here that I printed out, just a few pictures I found online. There's one that's Dorothy and all her friends from The Wizard of Oz, which I thought was pretty cool. But I saw another one online that I didn't print that was Santa and his reindeer. So they were reindeer pumpkin people. So it was really cool how they did that. You know, I think you have to have a pretty good sized lawn and maybe a sleigh for that one, but it was a really cool idea.
Yeah, Kevin, show them the one with all the actual pumpkin person. It's all the size of the pumpkins and
This one, if you haven't picked this up, on the very top of it, there is literally a pumpkin person made out of completely pumpkins. So that's another really creative idea that you can show that and I think they're kind of doing. No, I guess they're like farmer pumpkins, but I thought they were kind of doing the old, you know, John Travolta thing. There's an idea for you, Saturday Night Live. You can have your Saturday Night Live pumpkin. So if you haven't picked these up, please feel free to grab them. There's plenty out here before you head out. And it's the how to make a scarecrow one is basically how to build your frame on it. When you're on the internet, if you ever notice when you're Googling things and you're looking at directions of things, there'll be little ads in between the paragraphs. So when this printed out, it says balloon addicts and arrest records in between. It's because they're online they were links, and apparently they printed out the links, so I apologize for that. I realized that, Marianne, why do you have arrest records up there? That just kind of came out, you know. Any questions? I've been talking a lot, and any questions that you guys have that I might be able to help with? No? Are you guys excited about the contest? Yeah, I think this is a really cool thing that the Chamber of Commerce has brought to Gilroy. I know I've been in other communities where they do this type of thing. It's such a great community effort, and it's so cool to drive around. When Mark and I were first talking about it, Mark Turner, by the way, is the president of the Chamber over here in the yellow shirt. When Mark brought the idea to me and said, we're going to be doing this, you know, could you hold a class? And I was telling him about in Cambria, they do a fall festival, and what they do down there, they're actually not pumpkin heads they make paper mache heads out of all. I just recently, as I was researching it, I found that out. But I thought they were all pumpkin heads. And I was down there driving, I'd gone out to dinner, and I was, you know, going out, let me go the scenic route, you know, at night, it was just getting dark. Come around the corner, and there's all these people standing by the side of the road. I'm thinking, what is that? And then there's people over there, and there's people, I'm like, oh, they're pumpkin people. It was really cool. But it really makes an impact. People will go by and go, what is that? And especially the ones that have the themes. I mean, I really think those are the coolest ones, because you can, you know, you get a lot of chuckles out of that. If you have any questions at all, you can contact the Chamber of Commerce directly. My name is Kevin, and you can always come here to the center when we're open or give us a call. If I can help you with anything on the creative side, I'd be glad to consult my wonderful talents here and answer any questions that you have. All right. Well, thank you guys. Thank you, Marianne and Carol, for being here. We so appreciate it. And thank you guys very much for being here.